We'll call the Language, History, and Culture Committee to a meeting here, and we're running about 5 minutes over on that clock up there, and so so right now at this time we'll all stand. We'll have an invocation, please. Father God, we thank you for the wonderful, beautiful day that you have bestowed upon us, and each and every one of us here this day, Lord. We thank you for it, and Lord, and as we go into this meeting here, Lord, we just ask now that to give us a clear mind understanding of this meeting and stay within the agenda, and Lord, that we conduct this meeting in an orderly manner, and Lord, just bless and be upon the council and the administration, and Lord, and as we present the needs for the Cherokee people, Lord, we just pray and give thanks unto you. Lead us and guide us and direct us, Lord, in the things that we do, that it be pleasing unto you. In the glorious name of Jesus we give thanks. Amen. This page is alive here. I lost my page again. Roll call, please.
Johnny Keener.
Honey.
Phyllis Shargy.
Honey.
Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Audra Connor. Joe Crittenden. Meredith Fraley. Here. Don Garvin. Taylor King.
Honey.
Jackie Bob Martin.
Honey.
David Thornton. And Kara Cowan Watts. We have a quorum.
All right, we do have a quorum, so we get started with our meeting. Right now at this time, have an approval of the minutes of February the 13th and regular session, and March 13th regular session. So,
I'll move.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, so we'll just go right on into our report here this morning, and Cemetery Restoration Assistant report. Don Greenfeather. Everybody presenting that this morning? No one? All right. Director's report. Gloria? We know she's here.
Thank you and good morning. Glad to see all of you. Given the events of yesterday, I'm glad to be here too. I mean, the violence that's breaking out all over, it just overwhelms me. Okay. We have just been doing last month we ended up some of our classes with our employees and online classes. We started another section this month that's been going on for about a month. Less than a week, and so I'm not sure what the numbers are right now, but I anticipate that they'll be the same as they were, if not higher, around 1,100 for the 3 classes. So, so we're continuing to do that, but we've been expending a lot of our time in preparing for this week and the summer culture camp that we're going to be hosting at Tahlequah Elementary. It's Cherokee Elementary in Tahlequah Public Schools. I have those applications if you'd like to give them out to some of your constituents, and it'll be June 4th through June 29th. I have enough for each one of y'all to have one, and if you need more, we can provide them, or you can make copies of these. Okay? So we're getting ready for that, but this week we're having the language fair. Our staff are helping out with the American Indian Symposium. It's 35th one there at Northeastern. We're going to assist with on the beta field, the baseball, the stickball game. Then Thursday we have our language fair. We have our keynote speaker, Wes Judy, coming in. And then we begin a day and a half of a workshop on language. And also, Northeastern's having a Hawaiian, some individuals from the Hawaiian program coming in. They'll be speaking on Thursday also. They'll be visiting our immersion center on Friday, and then we'll have a follow-up meeting with them on Saturday. So they will be in the area, and they should be here today. They'll be out and out doing things, but we do want to get them to do that. But we're beginning to evaluate that Northeastern program, and so we'll be looking at strengthening it. I know it's only been 2 years, but we've already found some things that need to be changed. Other than that, we continue our other classes, video conferencing and other cultural presentations and things like that. So if there's, that's all that I have this morning, so if there are questions.
Yes, what was that over up there at Langley, and when was it?
The language fair, it's Thursday from 10 to 3, all day at Northeastern. It's in the 3rd floor. I assumed that we had sent you some invitations, but it's our 3rd floor of Northeastern's University Center, which is, everybody calls it the Union. And you're welcome to come and listen to the children. It's for pre-K through 12. They will just be presenting what they know and can do in the language. So we'll get to see what some of those students out in those public schools and in our immersion center, and just individuals taught by their parents can do.
Anyone else? Any other question for Gloria? If not, well, no. Yeah. All right. All right, so we'll go into old business. The former chief grave site monument discussion session.
Okay. We are coming forth with a recommendation. What we're looking at is to have a foot marker for the former chiefs, and we've got it out for bid now. We want to find out what it's going to cost. We may have to. This is the design that we're recommending. We may have to alter it just a little bit because we got a little fancy on this, I believe. The monument people said that this little, right in here, in the corner, I'll get up here so you can see. In this corner right here, these little corners, they're a little bit hard for the monument makers to do, so we may have to alter that piece. But this is what the design that we're recommending, and it's going to be a little foot marker that will sit down in the ground, and we want it to be about an inch above the ground, so when people mow, they don't like anything sticking up. They want to be able to mow over it. So we're looking at that. The design has been approved by administration, and so and I'm sure that we can modify this to please them. So, but that's what we're looking at for that.
What size are they?
It's going to be 12 inches by about 9 inches.
12 by 9?
Mm-hmm. Just a little foot marker. I guess whatever. Well, it's going to be bigger because it's going to stick down on the ground, but
Thicker?
Mm-hmm.
Thicker.
Yeah.
Approximately.
Yeah, approximately.
10 by 12.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not much bigger than this?
Well,
It's probably about the size of this sheet. This is
8.5 by 11, so it's going to be bigger because they said that the foot markers are not very big. So.
Well, this is for discussion, so any other discussions and stuff? Jackie Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What about, have you or anyone reviewed all of the graves? What about the headstones?
We discussed that.
Some kind of report of their condition?
We had pictures of every one of the grave sites. Some of the headstones are, not as new and modern as others are, but I could give you a report. The thing about it is they're all different. Some are very elaborate. Keener's is in the in a mausoleum kind of thing, and then you not Keener, but Healers, and then you have John Ross's, who's more elaborate. And we talked about having the brass little plates, but the problem that we've heard about that is that people are prying them off, and those are being lost due to that. And so that's why we talked about and decided on, as a committee, the foot markers. And then where there are foot markers existing, we'll have to ask if we can put this down there beside it. So
I guess I'm concerned about are they visible and legible and whatever, it's what I was getting at,
I can make sure that each one of mine, I haven't even looked at every one of them. We just looked, what we really looked at was the rules of the cemeteries, but we had an individual go out and take pictures for every gravesite.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Baker?
Yeah, and I realize they said foot markers are smaller and this, that, and the other, but couldn't they do like a 2 foot by 18 and still be within the gravesite and where it would be, seriously, 12 inches by 8 inches isn't much bigger than what this picture is.
Okay.
And that looks like something kind of chintzy.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
And, I think at least twice this big.
Twice as big? Okay. We will look at they have standard little things, so we'll look at the one that's close to 12 by 18. We'll also get an estimate on that.
No, 24 by 18.
24.
12 by 8 or 12 by 9, whatever you said,
Right.
I just think,
Okay.
I agree. Good.
Kind of about the size of the veterans puts out, they're about 12 by, 20,
Okay.
24 by
Okay.
18 look to me like, or, at least 15.
Sure.
Bill?
We'll pick it.
Thank you, Mr. Well, actually, that's what I was going to say. Why don't you make them just exactly like the veterans, and they have the long rods that go through them, and then they're bolted on the bottom side of the concrete pad, and then that's down on the ground where they can't just lift it up, and just take it off. They have to pull the whole concrete pad up. I've set a lot of them veteran pads, and that's why we put them in.
Okay.
And they go right over them.
Just in case someone asks, what's the price on it? You haven't
No, yet.
We don't have those yet because they were talking about the design on here and the stones, but we should have those later today, maybe even by the time I come back for education meeting. I'll give you that information or give it to Dr. Morton for you, should I get it by then.
Any other question for?
I just want to
All
compliment
right,
it. I think it's a very nice design.
Yeah.
Well, goes to Daniel Meek. We work with him in Daniel Meek in communications, and he helped us with that. So,
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, what else, Gordon? All right, so now we'll go to new business. It's approval, excuse me.
Mr. Chairman, if I would beg the indulgence of the committee, there is a piece of legislation that is on your desk here. Due to confusion of the similarities of the title of this and another act, this act did not get put in the packet. It should have been put in the packet. It's my responsibility, and I gave to it to. The confusion was Shelley on my end. It wasn't on there. It is right for consideration. It is an act that I would ask a committee member to amend the agenda to amend the agenda so that we could properly consider that act.
This was written by you?
Written by me, in connection with a lot of people, Cherokee Artists Association members included, and sponsor is Cherokee and Watts, and I would just beg the committee's indulgence to put this on the agenda.
Move to amend.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. All right, we'll go on with it. So, into new business. Approval of the cemetery restoration assistant applications here. We have
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I'd like to move for approval of the ones from District 1, which would be Pumpkin Hollow Cemetery, Nugent Cemetery, Gray Cemetery, and Downing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. District 2.
Mr. Chairman, move that we approve the request for funding for the Beaver Cemetery and Adair County.
Second.
Vote. Approve.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. District 5.
I move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. District 6.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Question.
Mr. Anglin just pointed out to me that on 2 of these applications, there are, one is from Sue Fine, who is a candidate for political office. Another one is from Joe Grayson, who is a candidate for political office. I just was made aware of these.
Just a moment. Jackie Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You're talking about the Joe Grayson in District 2, Mr. Raymond?
Yeah.
That Joe Grayson is Dr. Sly can help me with this. He is a Creek Cherokee from a different, the John Grayson over in Greedy community, Mr. Edward. So that is a different Joe Grayson.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally different.
All right. Well, I mean, it just raised an issue as to, Cherokee other times going to political candidates during the campaign season. I cannot tell you off the top of my head if there's anything improper about that. Just want to make you aware of the situation, and I will get with Ms. Hammonds today to see if there needs to be an official Attorney General's opinion on that. But literally, we just
I
discussed.
think the Grayson with Joe Grayson is buried up around Little Rock. Little Rock and...
If this is not the same Joe Grayson, I would not have any hesitation about that one whatsoever.
Really buried over to Little Rock. Go ahead.
It's not the same Joe Grayson that is in this application, works for Donated Foods, and he's from the Line Switch area over there by Case Springs.
Audrey?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Seafront is a candidate in Maids County, but this is,
He's in Cherokee County.
this cemetery is in Cherokee County. I don't know if that would make any difference, but I know her family cares for
It
this
is,
area.
yeah, it's pretty close on the line area down there south. The reason why, I believe it was that Sue Fine did this, she's probably, really, I'm the one that asked these people if they need any help and assistance. That's my duty, and to let them know of the funding and stuff that we have. And so this was even before. It's been some time in the making here, and we just now kind of more or less got around to it, to let them know. So.
And I understand that this is a time of the year that all cemeteries get spruced up. I mean,
They're really in bad shape, a lot of them.
Memorial Day is coming up, and the weather's getting fine. And like I said, off the top of my head, I can't tell you a prohibition of it. I'd only make you aware that's the situation. Okay. What I would suggest to the committee is to probably go ahead and approve the application contingent on a finding by myself and or the Attorney General that everything's kosher. We just want to make sure that on either side of the political spectrum that you're on is that the money will be going to the cemetery. But yeah, this is the time of year everyone gets done.
Margie? Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to comment that, a lot of these programs and services that we do will directly or indirectly affect many of our families. And, we're still Cherokees, and we still have the same needs as everyone else, still eligible. So, personally, I don't see anything wrong with it. She's not, one candidate is not voting to approve it or not, and I think that one of the things that we need to keep in mind is that we're all trying to work together for the betterment of the Cherokee people, and that includes political candidates or not political candidates. So I just wanted to say that for my part, I don't see anything wrong with it, and I would support it.
Mr. Baker?
Yes, and I think we as committee need to know that Sue Fine is on that application, and I would like maybe for the chair to direct Todd to get an opinion from the Attorney General, and if for some reason they find a conflict, give her the opportunity to have another member of the community sign off on the approved application so that they control the money or whatever. But I don't think we don't want to fix the Cherokee Cemetery because an advocate for the Cherokee people happens to be trying to represent the Cherokee people. But if we can get that rid of it, if you could correct that.
First, hear from Bill. Bill?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I just caught the name, and I don't know Miss Fine or anything, but I just know how I'm under the microscope all the time about relatives and everybody else. So I just want to make sure that everybody's treated equal in this committee, because like I say, I'm always under the microscope and everything. So I'm gonna make everybody aware of it. So we're all in the same boat. That's all I have to say.
All right, she's really not a elected official yet. You don't know whether she's going to be one or not, And so, but anyway, restate that again, Mr. Baker.
I would just ask that maybe you as the chair direct our attorney to get an opinion from the Attorney General. If there is a conflict, then give the cemetery the opportunity to put somebody else's name as the W-9 holder to go ahead and get the funds.
Now, I went over this right here, and you'd be surprised how many people are scared to sign that Form 9.
Yeah.
And so, Todd, would you carry that through and make sure that everything be all right with through the Attorney General?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I will get on it today.
All right. Any other, let's see. Okay, so we're holding up District 6 at the present time until further notice from the Todd.
You would in the next few minutes.
Mr. Chairman, what was that, Mark? You're holding up District 6?
Until we get
She was wanting District 5, District 1.
Huh?
She was requesting assistance for District 1.
Yeah.
And we've already passed.
Oh, yeah, District
we're-
1,
we're-
yeah, that's right, yeah, District 1, that's right. That was the Gray Cemetery and the Downing Cemetery. Yes, that's the only county signature. Yeah, District 6, we voted on it when it's passed. It goes on, I'm sorry. Yeah, in District 1.
We've already voted on District 1 now. So we're retracting that part of it.
I don't think so.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I would suggest the committee approve the application contingent upon a clean bill of health from the Attorney General's office. I suspect that when I talk with Ms. Hammond, that she is going to say that there is nothing wrong with it as long as there's a good accounting of it and it's not used for political purposes. Okay? But, so therefore you won't have to wait another month to approve it. I would go ahead and, I would suggest the committee approve the application so that it can go through the pipeline. Okay?
From the direction of our attorney here, what does the committee think?
Mr. Chairman.
It's carried on like it is? It's been approved?
It's already approved, and I think I would make the motion that if the Attorney General finds something wrong with it, we pre-approve it for another signature.
Signature, we can get to that problem.
So that it would be. I mean, if they say Sue Fine shouldn't be signing it, then they can get Mary Ballou or whoever else is on that cemetery board to sign off and be the keeper of the money. That'd be in form of a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Number 2. So, all right, here we go. 20. An amendment to Legislative Act of 25-05, an act relating to the preservation of the Cherokee culture at Cherokee Nation facilities. Who's sponsored that? Oh, yeah, okay.
This act is sponsored by Ms. Yargy
And?
All right, Ms. Yardy.
and Bill John Baker. Excuse me.
Okay.
Do you wish me to address?
You can or I can.
Okay. The act is very simple. It is an amendment to legislation already passed that today requires that 1% of construction cost of any facility of the Cherokee Nation will be set aside for the purchase of Cherokee art to be placed in that facility or the nearest appropriate facility. The amendment would increase that 1% to 2%. The purpose for the act is to increase the pool by which Cherokee artists would be able to market their wares to the Cherokee Nation.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer a friendly amendment that this be effective upon approval of the project, not until then. In other words, it's not retroactive, it's on new projects.
Oh, yeah, any law would be, we cannot do a retroactive act
But it needs to say on approval of new
from
projects,
this point. Okay.
because some of them are in the middle,
They're approved but not constructed yet.
right, and there'd be controversy there.
Well, so it's the intent of the committee that it would apply to any projects approved after this date.
Right.
Okay.
I was told it, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got a comment and a question. I'm glad Linda Allen's here. Maybe she can help me with this. I certainly support us employing Cherokee artists to help us decorate or theme our facilities. But my first comment was the 1%. I thought that was more than enough for the projects that we were working on. I mean, has it ever been a constraint, Linda, for?
Not up to this point.
Right. So my question is, why go to 2? And that is my second comment, which is, this 2% is going to be paid by us. the reality of the bidding process is that, the contractors, they all just work it to their price, so we're taxing ourselves to do this. And as long as everybody understands that, I mean, I didn't see any exceptions during my time at CNE where people didn't just pass that back on to us. So just a comment, as long as everybody understands that. Thank you.
Phyllis, then Jacob, Bob, and Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My comment as well, I believe that this came from the discussion meetings that Bob has had with the Cherokee artists, and they have just brought it to us. I think that a couple of months ago we looked at this legislative act and very briefly considered, or maybe even didn't consider, increasing that 1% to 2%. Since then, the act has been amended to approve the maintenance part of the ARC, and I think the concern was that the part that is going to be used for maintaining or preserving some of the things that are purchased might cut into the amount that was actually being spent for the art itself. And so in order for that not to be a problem, to take away funds that are going to be used for the purchase of art, I think this is why the increase was being requested by the artists. And we haven't had any problems that I know of up to this point, but it's sort of a safeguard for future artists should those other costs begin to cut into the amount that we set aside to purchase art. Thank you.
Jackie, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for clarification, Mr. Henry, supposing that we had doing a $100 million project, right now it's 1%. How many dollars is that?
1% of 1 million?
Yeah.
Or 1% of 100 million? Would be $1 million.
Right. So
Mr. Garvin could even know.
So now, my point is this.
Math teacher.
That's a lot of money.
That is.
And so we up that to 2%. How many dollars is that going to
That'd
be?
be $2 million of a $100 million project.
Would that be, my question is, would that be necessary?
That's within your purview.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All righty. Jackie.
Yes. The act that we had passed previously, as was mentioned earlier, states where it's to be placed. This act does not show any of that, nor does it show anything about the maintenance either. I would like to see a copy of the act with the changes, where it would only change from 1% to 2%, because this is not the way the act is currently on the books, I don't believe.
Bill Baker. You finished?
Yes.
Bill?
We're going from 1% to 2%, but folks, in all fairness, there would never be a problem on a $60 million project. Okay, no problem there. When you get into the gymnasium, all of a sudden there is a problem, and I think that CNE, and I'm not going to say guilty, but anyway, they're spending as much or more money on framing the art and building the cabinets as they're spending with the artists. And I'm not saying that we don't have to display it and protect it and frame it and all of those things. But if we're going to promote our heritage and culture, and we're going to keep our artists alive, and we're going to have nice artwork that bring people to the casinos and bring people to the facilities of the Cherokee Nation where they can see quality artwork, then let's put our money where our mouth is, and let's take it to 2% and go ahead and let them build the nice cabinets with those dollars and buy the nice frames to put around the artwork. But to spend as much money with vendors to display the artwork as we're spending with the artist to produce it, there's something wrong with that picture. And I just, this stuff is not going to last forever. And these artists are not going to live forever. And we need to be the owners of some of their most quality works for the Cherokee people forever. And we need to be there, and we need to be getting it now. Mr. Chairman.
All right. Don Garden first. Who is this?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
it looks like, we started out and said this was gonna be simple, but it looks like it's getting complicated, and I'm gonna make a motion we table this till next month and get the dates in there correctly and, some, couple other things, so I'll make a motion we table this till next month.
I'll second.
All in favor of tabling this?
Aye.
Opposed?
Point of personal privilege, please. I realize it's tabled and debate's over, but we had a lady in the back that raised her hand, and she obviously had something to add to this conversation before it was tabled, and I'd like to hear it if it's okay with the committee.
So I was the committee, I have just kind of failed, I'll carry on.
I'm
State your name.
I'm Linda Allen, and I work with Cherokee Nation Enterprises, and I work with the artist in procuring and framing and placement of the artwork in the facilities. And as you know, we're working with all Cherokee Nation entities. We're working with the health department right now on the clinics. And one thing I would like to say is with this 1%, we have projects right now that we have surplus funds. We have not been able to expend all of the funds from that 1% that's been set aside. So that money will go into a pool for other projects. And we've talked about the Sequoia project and redirecting some of the money to Sequoia to procure the art. We have projects such as the garage at the casino in Catoosa that money has been set aside. Definitely, we will not expend all of that for artwork for that facility. So those funds will be available if there's a shortfall in other areas for artwork to be directed to that particular project. So,
Phyllis?
I think I just have a question about the money that you haven't spent. How long will that carry over to purchase art, do you think?
I would have to, but I would think because that is part of the budget, that would be set in a separate fund to be redistributed to other projects. So.
How many years in the future do you think it would be available to purchase art? And how much art do you think it could purchase within the next 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years?
Well, I'd have to check with our accounting department. I can't answer that, but I could definitely check with them and get back with you on that.
That sounds like maybe just the carryover is just something that, do you know how much carryover we have out of that, or do you?
I can get that information on the projects that we have right now, which is the Salazar, the Tahlequah casinos, that I know that we do have an excess of funds. And like I said, the parking garage also with that. I didn't come prepared with that information, but I can certainly get that and provide that to you.
And then as far as new projects coming up, do we have any idea about how many new projects are going to be coming up within the next, that we might generate some funds for?
Not until we're notified. Of course, I know of Cherokee Nation Enterprises, but as far as the Nation programs or projects, I don't know those until we're notified of those. So, and I work with Gina Olaya, and I'm just here filling in for her since she's not able to be here. But as far as the framing also, I don't, framing is expensive, but I don't think there's been hardly any pieces that have exceeded the purchase price of any piece of artwork. We are paying prime prices right now for the artwork that we have, and I know a lot of the artists are very, very appreciative of the Cherokee Nation for allowing them to have this opportunity. And we are having any cases within C&E property. Our facilities management people are actually building those right now, the pedestals and the display cases. Even that display case that we have up here at the Cherokee Tahlequah Casino, our facilities management personnel built that in order to save money. So that's all that I wanted to indicate right now.
Yes, does that surplus include, you were concerned about maintenance? Does that surplus include the maintenance? Has the maintenance already been taken out before the surplus?
Well, as far as maintenance, I'm just talking with regard to the framing. We purchased lighting to accentuate the artwork from that, and so there should be very little maintenance that would be involved in that.
Process for, Gina was talking about some kind of process that preserves like written materials or things like that. That's pretty expensive, is it not?
Yes, and I think that may be with some of the health department too, that facilities, they are going to have some framed documents from my understanding on that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now we come back into being tabled. Todd, are you going to tackle all of this?
I've been attacking the artist situation for a while now, so I'll continue to work on it. In particular, I will get with Mr. Garvin to get the language for prospective projects on, and we will work with C&E to actually ascertain what size of pool money we are working with now and how much the increase pool would be. I think those are important questions that the committee would consider.
All righty. We have any other questions for Todd other than? Okay, so we did vote on the table, didn't we? Okay. Okay. So we're
ready for the number 3. Number 3, we amended the agenda for number 3.
Yes, right. We'll go to the amendment now, number 3, and it's an act, it's a legislative act relating to the Native American art and crafts to be enacted by the Cherokee Nation.
This is an act sponsored by Cherokee and Watts. There are several authors on this. It's basically the author should be by committee on
Todd?
Yes.
Did you come up with a new title that's different than yesterday's?
Yes, you pointed out that yesterday we passed through council the Cherokee Nation Arts and Crafts Act of 2007. I would recommend that the title of this act would be the Cherokee Nation Arts and Crafts Authenticity Act of 2007, because what the purpose of the act is to guarantee that Cherokee art sold by the Cherokee Nation arts entities is made by authentic members of federally recognized tribes.
Okay.
Would you concur with that?
Recognize
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah, for discussion.
Please. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Got a question. Has anybody talked to the artist about going through the application process and all of that, and has anybody talked with Tarot to see if they're set up to and budgeted and willing and can and I mean, it appears to me like we're having our artists jump through one more hoop and loop, and all of a sudden a white card and blue card is not enough, and so now we're going to have them go and go through the tarot process, and we've got many Cherokee contractors that could be tarot builders, but they're not going to jump through the hoops and loops of the application process, and that's just not their thing. And so I just, although in principle I agree with this, I'm a little bit concerned about you can't sell the casino, or you can't, be sold someplace else if you don't jump through our hoops and loops. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Cares, I think.
Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My first question is, and I brought this up before in relation to this act, is maybe for the sponsors, Kara, and who are the other sponsors on this?
It's just me.
Oh, you said there was a committee here.
Well, I mean, the authorship of it, in other words, the sponsor is only by a council member, but the individuals that were involved in lengthy discussions about, well, and this really represents only one part of the discussion, but President of the Cherokee Nation Artists Association, Terry Rhodes, was present. Our Westminster, Connie Williams, present. Dana Jim of the Attorney General's Office, John Parrish of the Attorney General's Office, Troy Poteet of the Attorney General's Office. She was there. And who else? Richard Allen. There were a number of people who gave good thought and good discussion into the authorship of this act. And as to the question about the tarot certification, the act doesn't require that they be tarot certified. What it requires is that tarot certify that these are Indian artists. Indian artists have to find this act as a member of a federally recognized tribe. Literally, it can be a one form that says, "Show me your blue card, you got it. Here we sign off on it. You have your tarot certification as an Indian artist."
It's a white card, correct?
Oh, white card, yeah.
So that's what this defines as to a white card.
That is correct. Yeah, white card.
Okay. The question that
Well, it says that they be an individual, a citizen or a member of a federally recognized Indian entity. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
I still got the floor.
I apologize.
So now, that committee, I just want to get the facts clear here. That's also, this is the Committee on Identity and Fighting Wannabes, is that correct? Okay, so I just want to understand what the intention of this legislation is. This will hurt. For example, we're all proud of Willard Stone and his work that we have in our facilities. That would certainly keep any of his descendants from doing any work for the nation. Joan Hill is another one. And I understand these are exceptions to the rule, but we've a long time recognized them and their work, but this is going to exclude them.
Yeah, it would. You're right, it would.
And I just want to understand what the motivations are. This is a continuing battle over identity. This will certainly kick out a number of people. So just questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Karen?
Thank you. Because there's a lot of assumptions that have been made, and I haven't even got to speak yet about the intent.
Yeah, but they were ahead of it.
All right, so it does a couple of different things. First of all, the need for the tarot list came out of JOM folks, particularly in my area, not knowing who to go to buy things or to hire for different events or corporations and such. And so this stops some of those folks that are not Cherokee or not other Indian tribes that are faking and are making money off our own people or others, and allows a way to certify them as Indian artists. And the particular part about state recognized is there are there's no consistency or there's no consistent guidelines, but there's also not a consistent burden of proof either to what extent a state recognized tribe is given recognition. It's very haphazard at different times, and we don't, unless we want to be in the business of recognizing other Indian people, we need to just draw a line on what is Indian art and what isn't, to allow for the playing field within the Cherokee Nation. And with respect to our artists, the feedback I've gotten is that we would provide them more opportunity as Cherokee tribal citizens and other federally recognized tribal citizens, because too often they're competing against wannabes rather than legitimate Indian artists. Thank you. And yes, we do have a lot of more work to do, like with respect to the policy, but that has to be developed by the staff who are going to implement it, not by us.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Don?
Todd, if there's some way we could write this up where we make an exception for John Hale and some family that was mentioned.
You can,
It's kind of a special situation for those, and what Kara's talking about is great, but what Taylor's talking about is also, and we need to combine those two.
any legislative body can pass what is called a private bill. State legislatures do it all the time in special circumstances when a mistake's been made and an individual appropriation needs to be made to an individual. In this instance, well, and to answer your question, you as a legislative body can do just about anything you want to do. There's different ways to solve the problem. One way to solve the problem is if you pass this act, you can pass private bills to say this individual and their descendants are accepted from that matter. Or you can make it part of this bill to say to specifically delineate individuals, or you can leave it as it is and just say this, this is our right line of demarcation, and it is what it is. But there's any number of ways this legislative body can attack the problem.
Sure. Just a minute. Phyllis.
Thank you. I have a question. How would this affect the Cherokee holiday, the arts and crafts that we have that come in for the Cherokee holiday? Is there a different? I just want to make sure that we're not going to be in conflict with something that we're already doing.
To the question.
To the question, Karen?
The thing is, those folks could not try to sell as Indian art. They would have to show that this is not Indian art. I mean, people can buy it. They still will. People like the fake feathers and the tomahawks and all that other stuff. But they cannot sell it claiming to be an Indian artist. So if that consumer wants to buy Indian art, they would know when they come to the Cherokee Nation, if it's a Cherokee Nation event and such, or organization, that it is, or sponsored by the Cherokee Nation, that means it is Indian art by federally recognized standards.
According to number 1, under the section 5, that's not what that tells me, that they could still sell it. So they would not be allowed to set up. Is that, am I reading that wrong?
No, it's under, what did you say, right here, it's that are...
When you're talking about in our particular stores.
Okay, now in our stores, they can't, we do need to amend that. They just can't sell it as Indian art. It has to be explicitly shown it is not Indian art.
The intent of the legislation.
Because I thought that had that exception line on it from that other.
The intent of the legislation is not to prohibit the sale of any art. For example, at the holidays. The idea is that anyone can set up a booth, but if you are a Indian artist as certified by Taro, you'll have your nice placard up here that you are an Indian artist, and that you will recognize it.
Todd, I'm just curious, since Linda is here, if you've seen this and to see how it might affect, she works directly with our art purchasing, and so I just wondered, I'm just curious to see how it would affect.
No, I haven't seen it. I just, we've lost several artists because of we changed our process.
Could you come up?
I'm sorry. We have lost several artists who don't want to do business with us as it is because we have now a 15-day period, a minimum of 15 days in order for their invoices to go through our system in order for them to get paid. Some of those artists do not want to wait that long because, this is their livelihood, and so some of them have decided...
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be, but what does that have to do with this particular act with regards to...
If they have to go and get tarot certification and they have to pay the fee and to fill out...
There's no fee.
There's no, okay, and I haven't seen that, so
And it would be
I
a
didn't know.
one-time application.
Okay, and I don't know what would be involved with that, if they just have to show their CDIB or their blue card or what have you to get the certification.
But they have to show that to you now, right?
When we set them up as a vendor, yes, they do provide that to us. And
Because
so...
we could allow tarot to set them up as a vendor at that point.
we could get that certification from them. The only thing, I don't know how long. Some of the artists come in, they fill those forms out at the time, if they're not already set up in our system, and then we can't process any payments until they're set up as a vendor so that the check can be issued through the accounting system. We would have to provide some kind of system to speed the process up to get the tarot certification in order
That
for
already
us to...
needs to happen, right, Joe? That already needs to happen under the existing system.
It does, but that would be another step in order
Ma'am,
to get certification.
go ahead.
Thank you.
Mr. Baker's got a question. We're kind of running short on time here.
Yeah, and I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to nitpick, but the Cherokee Nation shall only offer for sale arts and crafts that are produced by Indian artists as defined by this act. And it says blankets and stuff, so does that mean that the gift shop can no longer sell Pendleton blankets?
It needs to take number 2's part in there.
And I guess I think it's 10 o'clock, this needs more work, I'm on the table.
Second.
Get the answers later.
We move to table, and that's been second, and all in favor to table this, till we get it all straightened out right here again, and time to vote. Aye. Same time. Tabled. And I would say that Todd, get to work on this and work with this, what's the name again? Alan. And get all of this here on out. We need to settle this pretty quickly, you know.
I know by the next committee meeting that we will have whatever questions ironed out that they would have, and then the committee can take a vote on the merits of the act.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor? We're adjourned.